Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to finish up the weekly readings with the sign of Pisces. Alright Pisces, you're up next. And this is the last reading for November, right? So let's just see what you may or may not be going through this last week, November 24th to the 30th. We're going to go ahead and pull out your romance angel cards, your messages, and then get into your animal spirits for the week, and then your traditional tarot spread. All right. Right away we have wedding. If any of you are cross watchers, you're going to laugh because you'll know that this card has come up 7 times this week. True love. And free yourself. This is another one that's come up quite a lot this week. I think that's the 3rd or 4th time that has also come up. It's quite interesting. So I don't get right into the romance angel messages until I pull the rest of the cards out. So let's go ahead and get right into your animal spirits. Now, animal spirits, they can represent people that you may be coming across or dealing with, right? Their personalities or characteristic types, where their head is at. They can indicate stages you may be entering into your life, or paths in your life, times in your life, crossroads, things like that. Or they can also indicate energies that are coming available to you to help you deal with something or learn something about yourself, all right? So let's just see, Pisces, what your animal spirits for the week are. The bee. Well, you know how often this comes up, my regulars. The bees are really sort of regular animal spirit in my readings. And the elephant, very auspicious. Fire, we have air and fire so far. And then we have more air with the firefly. Beautiful. Really nice, Pisces. So before we get into your spreads, let's talk about these beautiful animal spirits that are coming into your life. A lot of illumination and inspiration. The bee is one of these beautiful animal spirits that is very, very sort of resourceful, right? The bee is one of these hard workers. They're very creative. They love to be part of a group. They love to work on a project. They are very enthusiastic and bubbly individuals, you know, just as you would imagine a bee to be, just buzzing around, you know, going from one flower to the next, one flower to the next, you know. This is what the bee does. And in the wild, the bee fertilizes, right? It pollinates, actually. It pollinates flowers by going from flower to flower and exchanging, right, the pollination or the pollen between the flowers, and helps the flowers to germinate, right? And so in this way, it can keep, bees are necessary to keep the gardens sort of alive and the flowers growing, right? And so in this way, a person who resonates with this energy is really like that. They're just kind of a delight to have around. They help to keep the group sort of buoyant and creative, right? And they're very tireless, right? They're not lazy. They really, really work. This is also the great Democrat in the group, right? In the animal deck, in the sense that they also want to make sure that everyone is feeling, you know, happy and sort of fairly treated, right? They're always the one who wants to make sure that everybody has a voice, everybody has a vote, you know, everybody's feelings are being considered. A lot of times this is going to be the person whom people within a group come to settle differences or arguments amongst friends, because everyone gets along with this personality. Really a delight to be around. And you may be resonating with this energy right now. You may be the bee who's planning a wedding for someone, right, this week. Some of you may be doing wedding planning or something of that nature. That would be perfect sort of complementary sort of event for someone who's buzzing, literally buzzing with this kind of energy. All right, now let's get right into the elephant. The elephant is, of course, a fire element. You can see that there with the triangle, and of course, the fire that he carries in his trunk. The elephant is associated with the Hindu god Ganesh, and you can see at the third eye position the ruby, and that indicates the wisdom that the elephant brings. The elephant is the great destroyer of obstacles. This is the energy that comes into your life that finally gets rid of obstacles that you haven't until now been able to get rid of, or you know, it can also be obstacles that are just too formidable or that suddenly come up. Sometimes they just clear the path. The path just becomes wide open, right? And it's not as if there are certain obstacles, but there's no new obstacles either, right? The elephant just clears the perfect path for you towards whatever objective that you want. And because the elephant brings wisdom and abundance, the objective is generally towards your dreams, right? This is a really auspicious animal spirit because it's a fire spirit, and because the elephant is so formidable, it feels very much like the hand of the divine, because there's nothing that can be done about it. You know, these are the type of events that happen in your life that just feel so out of your hands. They feel like, well, I could have never expected that, or I could have never planned for that, or, you know, this is absolutely fallen into my lap sort of scenario, right? Just a feeling of like, things just rolling open, right? And the path being made open to you. This is a real good energy for abundance and wealth and wisdom coming in at a really pivotal time. Now, Firefly is, of course, air energy, and the firefly is associated with bursts of inspiration. Just as the firefly lights up when you see them out in the gardens in the summertime, right? Or just at the end of the spring, I believe. Fireflies, you know, they light up. They light up so bright, but they light up only for a moment. And so this card, of course, is associated with air, but it's also associated with the mental, right? In the sense that... you know, be focused, be aware right now. Keep your mind clear and pay attention, because it's at times like this, when this energy is around, that inspiration comes in, right? The true inspiration comes in, but it only comes in very quickly and then it's gone. And most of the time, the way it comes in, you can miss it if you're not paying attention. Right? If you're just kind of going about your daily life and you're not keeping your eyes open to sort of the little details in life, right? You know, it can come and go, and before you know it, you kind of missed it. So just take care, because for some of you, you have a really great sort of stage of creativity about to come forth, and this firefly inspiration is the beginning of it. All right, Pisces, let's get right into your spreads. We're going to pull out anywhere from 4 to 6 3-card spreads. I'm going to get this video out before midnight tonight, so it's out technically on the 24th on the East Coast where I'm at. I've been doing readings all day, and I just had to take a break to give my voice a chance to sort of come back to normal, because I was beginning to lose my voice. So, all right, guys, let's get right into your spreads for the week. Now, Pisces, we already know this reading can't be for everyone, so just take whatever applies to you. If it doesn't make sense to your situation, this reading, you know, that particular forecast may not be for you, right? A reading should really make sense to you in some kind of way, and it should resonate. That's what we mean by resonating. So, and I'm sure you Pisces already know that, because you are one of the most intuitive and psychic of the zodiac signs yourselves. So you know what that meaning is. You know what that feels like. So let's get right into it. Straight out, we have 4 of Pentacles, Page of Cups, and the Emperor. Okay. Some of you are worried about money. You're coming into this week, Pisces. You're worried about money. I'm going to say this really feels to me like the wedding situation, right? Some of you are worried about money, and you may be planning a wedding. You may be trying to get married or step up, you know, the level of your commitment in a relationship. But right now, you're coming into the week primarily with a feeling of being worried that your money is not stable, that maybe you don't have enough, or that what you do have is being threatened in some kind of way. It could be a feeling of not having enough money to attain something or achieve an objective that you're trying to achieve. Or it could also just be a feeling of angst that, you know, what you have sort of accumulated for yourself is somehow in jeopardy of being lost, right? Is being threatened in some kind of way. Could even be through responsibility, you know. But you come into this Page of Cups, and let me get back to this. What I mean by through responsibility, I mean, like, say for instance, you are getting married, right? Say you are getting married and you're worried about how the marriage is going to impact your finances. You know, you're having cold feet about that. It's natural to feel that way, right? But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It could be something like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be a business thing that threatens your money, or a career choice or something. It can also be a choice in life somewhere along the way, or a higher commitment that you're making somewhere, and you feel like, oh my God, this is going to really impact my life because I'm used to sort of just taking care of my own finances. There are multiple ways that this kind of feeling can come in, but nevertheless, you do feel it that way when you come into this week. You're met with a Page of Cups, and a Page of Cups is like, I want to say, this is why I feel like this may be about a wedding or about a higher commitment with someone, because this is kind of like a lover, I believe, who's coming to you and saying, look, don't worry about it. You know, I love you. Everything's going to be all right. This feels like a really soothing, sort of gentle energy that's coming into you this week to sort of meet this angsty feeling that you're having. And you end the week with the Emperor energy, and I want to feel that this Emperor energy is someone who's going to come in and help you with this issue. And that's why I feel like it could necessarily be a wedding. This could be a couple where you guys are just worried about money, and one of you is like, look, don't worry so much about the money. You're really concerned about it, but the other one's like, look, we'll get through it. They're being really tender with you. And in rides in a relative or the father-in-law, right? Even the mother-in-law. This doesn't have to be this is not, my readings are not gender specific, but this is a person who is in a position of authority, right? Who's very sort of, they will resonate with sort of masculine energy, so they're going to be alpha in any case, whether they're male or female, but they kind of come in to save the day, and they're kind of laying down the law. So it could be a mother-in-law, father-in-law, it could be an aunt or uncle, or somebody, you know, who in some way can come in and sort of look and say, look, I'm going to help you out with this. I'm going to tell you which way to go. We're going to figure this out. It's not necessarily that they just come in with money, because that would necessarily be sort of like a King of Pentacles. But they also come in with a lot of advice and sort of guidance about what the next step will be for you guys, right? You may want to take care, though, that they don't overstep their bounds, because one of the things with the Emperor is that they can get over sort of dictatorial and telling you what to do if they don't sense enough sort of responsibility on your part, right? Because they are the Emperor at the end of the day. So you do have to kind of push back against the Emperor, or else he'll be a dictator, right? And that's the thing, you know, this is also associated with Aries energy. So, but in any case, this is what's going to be for some of you. And for some of you, it'll be a nice answer to your prayers. And especially if you're worried about planning a wedding, this will definitely be sort of a solution that comes in. 8, the Strength card, 4 of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. Well, we haven't had this combination in a while, but it has shown up before. This is one of these combinations that actually comes out in readings sometimes. Exactly this 3-card spread, Strength, 4 of Cups, and Ace of Cups. Now, Strength is 8 in a major arcana. With Strength, we talk about learning our own strengths, right? Learning our own strengths and our own weaknesses and what our boundaries are. Learning to understand our own boundaries, right? And that takes time. You know, it takes time of having certain events happen that don't make you feel good, or that you feel like, hang on a second, I should have stopped that there. Or I should have, you know what I mean? I should have stepped up and said, look, no, you're giving me too much, or, you know, I should have stood up for myself, or I should have asked for help, right? I should have reached out. And that was the point in my life where I should have reached out and asked for help. It's these type of events and experiences that teaches our strengths, right? that teaches everything that we need to know about how strong we are and how strong we want to be, right? And what we require to maintain our strength. And so in a lot of ways, this is why 8 is also associated with boundaries that we set for ourselves, right? Because it's only through boundaries and restrictions that we discipline ourselves, and it's through discipline that we become stronger, right? And it's also through boundaries that we keep other people away who will come and try to drain our strength or energy, as we call it, right? So when you're dealing with somebody who's considered like an energy sucker, a lot of that is associated with this card strength, because you have to realize and accept that they're an energy sucker, and you have to put boundaries in place to maintain your strength and to maintain your energy, right? And to maintain your vitality. And this is kind of a learning process, you know. And some people think that it's a bit counterintuitive, but if you really think about it, this is the true essence of knowing your strengths and having control over things like pride and jealousy, which is also associated with this card, right? Because it's pride and jealousy and these types of things that make us weaker. And so you're dealing with this. This is a major arcana card, Pisces. And right now, you are dealing with a situation where you're really learning about yourself in this way. You're resonating up and you're realizing, hang on a second, I know now what's too much for me, and I know now what I don't want and what's, you know, draining me. And I know how good I feel when that's not happening and how powerful and strong I feel. So I need to start to protect myself. And you're putting boundaries in place. You come across a 4 of Cups this week. And I'm going to say for some of you, this is the energy that you have this week when somebody comes into you and they try to hand you a cup of love. Because of all of this work that you've done here, you absolutely say no. You say no to it. You say, look, you know, I don't want it. And this is this 4 of Cups is oftentimes interpreted as being someone who is, you know, being too obstinate, you know, that is being unreceptive, that is sort of, you know, denying help that they need, you know, or denying help that is sincerely offered just because they're being too prideful. But that is kind of a you know, to me, that's a kind of an oversimplification of some of the energies here. 4 is the number for stability. You know, and with 4 of Cups, we find that this is also an individual who's already seen 3 cups. They've already been through 3 empty cups, right? And so it's not as if, you know, they haven't denied 3 empty cups. These 3 cups represent the previous cards in the tarot deck. This is the stages they've been through already, right? And so with this cup now, but these have all ended up empty. And with this one, this is also an empty cup. And so this person is saying, listen, I already have my own stability, right? With the 4, that's just maintaining your stability. I have stability. I've already been through this. I don't, or more than anything, your cup looks just like all the previous cups that were destabilizing or that were not good for me or that for whatever reason are no longer in my life. So what else do you have to offer me? You know, I've already established myself with a sense of stability. I don't, you know, what can you bring to the table? You know, and I call this very much my show and prove card. And this is why I say this is oftentimes a spread. This is kind of a spread that comes out a lot for people. This is sort of almost like, an archetype spread for this classic scenario, because this is where you have been working on this very ability, which is setting boundaries and saying, hang on a second, no, or saying to somebody, look, show me more than that empty cup, right? And so what happens is, in comes love. You round out your week with an Ace of Cups. I'm going to say this person may indeed actually sort of say, right, okay, I'll show you what I have to offer. You know, they're going to respect you that much more. And it could very well be that you're exactly the type of person they've been looking for, because they are also looking for someone who is wanting a deeper level of connection and responsibility and intention in a relationship, right? You know what I mean? In the sense like, yeah, well, I have a lot to give, but I'm not just going to let anybody in. I don't have time for that. What I bring to the table is obvious. You're the one offering me the cup. Am I to expect communication with this? Am I to expect, love with this and fidelity or loyalty? What am I to expect with this cup? And I expect for you to at least show me or tell me or in some way, I'm not going to say prove necessarily, but show what your true intentions are in some realistic way that I can say, okay, that I can discern, right? Give me something to discern. If you give me nothing, there's no way I can make at least a minimal judgment that you are worth really my time after all of these other cups I've been through. And this person resonates up. I believe for a lot of you, this person comes right in and gives you exactly what you've always wanted. And this is really a case of true love coming in. Really, really nice for you, Pisces. This is a strong read, only because this is a read that comes out a lot, exactly these cards. And this almost always means that you do run into a true love after a period of really having worked on yourself and worked on your ego, worked on your pride, and really truly worked on it. Not just said you did. You really truly worked on it. And you are no longer sort of entertaining just anyone. And here comes along your dream in a way, your true love. 5 of Cups, Page of Swords, and the Sun. Some of you come in this week really in a power struggle internally about the past, right? You're kind of stuck in the past. You're feeling really negative about, trying to go forward with any kind of relationship. 5 is the number for power struggle. And inside, you're kind of struggling between negativity or just a fear of trying again. Which is worse, facing your fears to try again and trying again, or just wallowing in the negativity? You're kind of just stuck really right now looking to the past because, this in general, that seems to be a lot easier than actually sort of facing a possibility for it happening again, which is really the most frightening prospect for a lot of us, and a lot of reasons why people generally will kind of linger in the past and hold on to the sadness of failed relationships. Nevertheless, you come into the week feeling quite down about this, right? But you meet a Page of Swords, and again, this is going to be an inspirational moment because you round the week up with the Sun. The Page of Swords talks about a beautiful, beautiful sort of new communication coming in, a feeling of meeting someone else. This new conversation, this new sort of inspiration comes in, right? Air energy, Page of Swords is air energy, and Page of Swords does resonate with that feeling of inspiration, new ideas, a sense of freshness. And I think you meet somebody who brings this out in you, and you round out the week with the Sun. Which is a sense of, okay, there's confidence coming into my life, right? You really come out of this mood, Pisces. Whatever this mood is that you were in, or forever how long you have been in it, you may begin the week with it, but you round out the week feeling really, really confident and happy. It's going to be because of this meeting with this Page of Swords, and it's certainly going to feel like a real sort of inspirational meeting, a new way of thinking about things, and it could ultimately even lead to a new sort of true love connection as well. But it starts out here with just a conversation, and that enough is already enough to bring you out of it. The Devil, the Lovers, and the Ten of Swords. There, I'm going to leave it. The Devil comes in. This is the energy you come into the week with. You have Lovers energy, you have Ten of Swords energy. So you entered the week with a decision to make, to free. This is absolutely about the card freeing yourself. For some of you, you have been in a really sort of codependent relationship, I want to say, with a lover. Okay, Devil is the sort of card for codependency and addiction. It's also the card for creativity. But when our creative sort of impulses and our creative communication is not able to express itself in a healthy way, right, through a healthy outlet, Then what happens is we go into sort of being a slave to instant gratification and a slave to sort of our addictions because we need to feel that satisfaction in some way, right? And so this is why the Devil card is kind of like, it is associated with Capricorn energy, just like the Lovers is associated with Gemini energy, right? But that's incidental, okay? That really doesn't have that much to do with what's going on here in terms of the meaning. But I will say this, this is a feeling that you come into the week with in a sense that you realize this is what you're in, right? And you're met with the Lover's card, and this is very much an understanding in a particular scenario, like with a deep connection with someone. The Lover's card talks about two halves of a whole, right? But it means that, Lovers talks about, it's six. Six is harmony. So in order for this connection to work, both people have to be sort of willing to work with each other, right? There has to be an equal give and take. It's just like the twins, just like Gemini. Gemini is twins, but they're two halves of the same. So both people have the same intention to work as hard. And although they're different, obviously they're different and they're unique from each other, they do, each resonates what the other needs. And then the only way to come together and feel that wholeness and that oneness that you would feel in a harmonious relationship is working together, right? And understanding each other and making an effort. Now, when only one person makes an effort, it can be very dysfunctional. Or if the only effort is to constantly hurt each other and not to learn from each other, then that's codependency, right? And so either way, codependency or dysfunctionality or addiction, this is all sort of the kind of negative side of Devil energy, and this is what you're dealing with. But you round the week off with a Ten of Swords, and that's really freeing yourself because you say no more. With Devil energy, you wake up and you see it exactly for what it is. And I think that's the inspiration that's going to come into you this week, Pisces. I think something's going to happen as a result of your experiences and just who you are and, maturing and thinking and learning and gaining wisdom. In a particular scenario that has been a long-term sort of connection, perhaps a real sort of rocky road, right? Ten of Swords, a long path of a lot of struggles and ups and downs, and never having known really what the key is to it. You find the key this week with this really brief moment of inspiration, and it really allows you to finally leave this and close the door. Ten of Swords talks about closing the door, saying that's it. I'm not the same person that wants to continue to be in this sort of dynamic, right? I'm now the type, I can't, it's too much. You've endured too many swords, and now the old you is definitely dead. And this very much talks about the end of a long period of struggle and strife because you decide to give it up, right? And you decide that you want to walk away from it. I mean, we are sort of in charge of our lives, right? And so a lot of times, difficult times in our lives, sometimes it can feel like, yes, they're out of our hands because it's just something we have to go through, right? But there is also a period of time, there's always a period of time at some point along that path that there's also a choice that you could choose to go another way. And it's not to say that it's not going to be difficult in and of itself, that it won't have its own difficulties, but you do have a choice in these matters. And with Ten of Swords, it's like the end of this because you also chosen for it to now finally be over.